Good morning. Good morning, Facebook. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Cook County Commissioner Donna Miller, and today we are going to have a discussion about the 2019 tax sale. So we will be waiting for people to join us here on Facebook. So we'll give it about another minute or so. If you are watching us, please let us know you're here, and we'd love to see your comments in the chat. And we'll get started in about a minute or so. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. We're going to be starting our seminar in just a moment. So thank you so much for joining us. And if you're here, please send us a comment. We'd like to know you're here. But this program will be able to be seen live, and it's also going to be housed on my Facebook page at Cook County Commissioner Donna Miller. So you'll be able to see it beyond today. So thank you for joining us. And please put any comments or questions that you might have in the chat, but we'd like to know that you're here. So you can also put that in the chat. So thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning, everyone. I am Cook County Commissioner Donna Miller of the 6th District. I represent 36 municipalities in South and Southwestern suburbs. So I want to thank you for joining us this morning to have a conversation for our Lunch and Learn series. Today we are joined by Kelly Carvelis, who is the General Counsel of the Cook County Treasurer's Office. I want to thank Treasurer Maria Pappas for having her office join us today and move into this presentation about the tax sale. But before we move on to that, I wanted to also just shed a little light on where we are this month. This month is actually Mental Health Awareness Month, and this just gives me an opportunity to highlight the fact that communities of color, especially in the Black community, are more likely to experience socioeconomic disparities, such as exclusion from health, education, social, and economic factors. These disparities contribute to worse health outcomes. And National Mental Health Month is a time for us to redouble our efforts to improve health delivery systems by listening to community concerns and work to build that trust we've lost over generations. This kind of dovetails into our topic for today, and Treasurer Pappas has been speaking about Black Houses Matter for several months, maybe even a couple of years now, and focus on those disparities that plague our communities, especially in the Black and Brown community. Today's topic of discussion is vitally important because the properties that are listed on the annual tax sale of delinquent properties, that can have a detrimental effect on you losing your home. The 2019 tax sale begins on May 12th. That's coming up. So I wanted to have this event to get the word out so you can check to see if your property might be listed on the tax sale. As we move into this presentation, be sure to like and share this presentation. As I mentioned, May 12th is right around the corner. That's next Thursday. We want to get this information to people so they will not lose their home. So please put comments. And I would love to introduce Kelly. And Kelly, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So please go ahead and go into the presentation for us today.
Okay, so I'm going to get right into it. As Commissioner Miller mentioned, the tax sale begins next Thursday. So I do think this is great timing in terms of getting the word out to make sure that check to see if your property is on this list. And I'm going to go into some information on potentially how to get off the list if you do find yourself on the tax sale list. So what I'm showing you right now is cookcountytreasurer.com, the homepage. So everything that I'm going to show you today pretty much is going to be available on our website at cookcountytreasurer.com. We try the best we can to get the word out to all citizens of Cook County as much as we can to make this information public so that if you are on the tax sale list, you can get off. If you are missing tax reducing exemptions, you can get those. And if you're entitled to overpayment refunds, you can apply for those. So this is what you'll see when you go to cookcountytreasurer.com. This is our homepage. Most of the most significant information for an individual property owner is going to be held in this purple box. It's called your property tax overview. I'll get into that a little bit later, but that's probably going to be the most important part of the website for most homeowners. Our website is available in 108 different foreign languages as a result of the fact that Cook County is so ethnically diverse. The two most common foreign languages that we see hits on are Polish and Spanish. And as you can see here, this is what you would see if you translated our website into Spanish. As I mentioned before, your property tax overview is going to be the most significant part of our site for homeowners because it's going to contain everything that might be going on with your individual property. It'll tell you if you're on the tax sale list. It'll tell you if you have delinquent taxes. It'll tell you if you are owed refunds or if you are missing exemptions. So once you click onto that purple box, you're going to search either by your property index number, but if you don't know what that is, that's okay. You can also search by your property address. Now you're going to put your address number in and street name. You don't have to include road, street, avenue, etc. You don't have to include your street direction. So if my address were 100 North Ashland, I would just put 100 Ashland, Chicago, and that would be sufficient to bring up my property. Now, once you've searched your property, this will show you the results. So you'll see a picture of your property to make sure that you are actually looking at the correct address. In addition, it's going to show you the property location we have on file and the mailing information. So if you didn't receive your bill and you notice that your mailing information is something other than where your bill should be sent, say it's a prior owner and the mailing address was never updated, you can update that right on our address, or right on our website, excuse me. And once you click into your property, as I mentioned, you'll see if you owe delinquent taxes and you'll be able to pay right online. There's no fee to pay and you can pay right from your bank account. In this case, you can see this person's paid their first installment of their tax year 2020 taxes, which were due last year, but they haven't paid their second. In addition, this expand payment details field, you can expand that and it'll tell you all of the payments that have been made on your property for that tax year. So this one again is delinquent for 2021, which was billed last March. You'll be able to pay right online. As I mentioned, you can also see if you were entitled to any overpayment refunds. So let's say in the past you've owned this property for 10 years and you paid and your mortgage company paid and you were not aware of that. You can apply right on our website to get that refund. This is especially significant if you are on that tax sale list, because if you are delinquent for the tax year 2019 taxes that were due in 2020, which are going to go to sale next week, you can ask us to either give you this refund back so that you can pay those taxes, or you can also ask us if we can transfer that money to your delinquent balance to try to get you off the list. And this is really important because we can go back 20 years. So if you have owned this property for 20 years and you overpaid 19 years ago, we can still move that money to your current delinquent balances. In addition, you can see if you're missing any exemptions. And exemptions are basically discounts on your tax bill. So you can get exemptions for a variety of reasons. Here are 6 of those reasons. So if you are a homeowner and this is your primary residence, that's a discount right there. It's going to depend on where you live, the tax code, the dollar amount that you would get reduced, but it's typically over $500. I can tell you for Chicago, for example, for last year, it was almost $700 in discounts. So this person got their homeowner's exemption, they got their senior citizen exemption, but it looks like they had a senior freeze exemption, and I'm going to go into the definitions of these exemptions later, but senior freeze is basically you're 65 years of age or older, and your income for the year is $65,000 or less. This person received it in 2018, but it looks like they did not receive it in 2019 or 2020. So we can go back and help them apply for that retroactively, and they'll either reduce the balances that they owe, or they can get a refund on what they already paid. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on what all the exemptions are, but basically you've got your homeowner's exemption, which I mentioned. It means that this is your principal residence. Senior, you just have to be 65 years or older and have this be your principal residence. The senior freeze, as I mentioned, is you are a senior citizen and you're making less than $65,000 per year in income. There are also exemptions for people with disabilities and veterans with disabilities that can significantly reduce your tax bill. In addition, this is it's not an exemption, but it's another form of relief for senior citizens who are making less than $55,000 per year. The state of Illinois has a senior citizen deferral program that the Treasurer's Office administers, and it functions like a loan. So basically, you would apply for a senior citizen deferral, and the state of Illinois would pay your tax bill up to $5,000 per year. And you don't have to pay it back immediately. It just has to be paid back when the property is transferred to a different owner. It's 6% interest per year, and you can apply for that every year prior to March 1st. Unfortunately for this year, the deadline is passed, but it's something to keep in mind for years going forward if you are not able to pay your taxes. Now, if you want to help out your neighbors, your parents, your friends, and you're not just interested in your own property, we do have a list on our website of all properties that we've identified that are potentially missing their exemptions. So you can go to cookcountytreasurer.com, view the lists of all the properties that we've identified that had exemptions in past years but did not get them for the current years. And you can make your parents, your friends, your neighbors aware that they might be missing out on money that they're entitled to. So this is an example of what I just mentioned. We have it broken down by ward if you're in the city of Chicago, by municipality, township, commissioner district. So if you wanted to see the list of properties in the 6th district that are missing exemptions, we have that available on our website. Now, in addition to just showing an overview of everything that's happening on your property, you're able to download an electronic copy of the property tax bill. So this is especially important if you didn't receive your bill in the mail that you were waiting on. You can download an electronic copy, you can print it, you can mail it to us, and we'll accept that just like if you'd received your bill in the mail. If you are concerned that you're not getting your bill in the mail, you can also opt to receive your bill by email. And so if you sign up for e-billing, we will email your bill to you for each installment instead of sending you a paper copy. Because as we know, sometimes bills get lost in the mail, and this is a more accurate way of ensuring that you're going to get your bill. This is a copy of what you would see for your first installment tax bill. And this is important because we're trying to be transparent about what is happening in government. So this shows you all of the money that is owed by the taxing districts that you would be paying into. For your second installment bill, we break down how much on your bill you are paying into each of those taxing districts. As I mentioned before, you can opt to receive your bill by email, and we won't send you a paper copy. Now, if there are questions that you have that are not answered on our website, you can give us a call to our call center. We do have employees who answer calls in English, Polish, and Spanish. We try to preempt all the calls that we get by having an automated system that answers our most frequently asked questions. So 77% of our calls are handled automatically by that system. The other 23% do go to our employees, who I mentioned can answer calls in a variety of different languages. Now I'm going to get into the meat of what we're here to talk about today, and that's the annual tax sale. So first of all, what is the tax sale? Basically, the annual tax sale is if you had unpaid taxes for the prior year, we are required by law to offer those up at the auction. And basically what that means is investors come in, we call them tax buyers, and they bid on the right to pay your overdue taxes. And once they do that, we're not selling the property. We are selling the right to pay the taxes. And once they do that, they get a lien on your property. And if the lien is not paid back within what we call the redemption period, which is typically 2.5 years if it's a home, then the tax buyer can get the right to go to court and ask for a deed to your property. And that's why it's so important that we're trying to get the word out to people to try to get people off that list so that we can ensure that people aren't losing their homes for past due taxes. As mentioned, this tax sale is going to start next Thursday, May 12th. And the way the schedule works is that the first 2 days are actually going to be the days that we're offering up the 6th Commissioner District properties. So how to make sure that your taxes are not going up to sale, and if they are, what to do. So as mentioned previously, you're going to want to go to cookcountytreasurer.com and make sure that you're receiving all of the exemptions that you're entitled to that could reduce your bill and potentially get you off that list. Now, we are unable by law to accept payment plans, but we do accept partial payments, and a lot of people don't know that. So if you don't have all of the funds to pay your whole tax bill at once, you can make partial payments as your budget allows. As long as your taxes are paid in full by the date of the sale, then you're okay. You don't have to make your tax payment all at once. So let's say you are on the list and you're unable to pay by the tax sale date. So what's going to happen if your taxes do go to sale? So you still have a period of time to pay back those taxes. That process is handled by the Cook County Clerk's office. You typically, as I mentioned, have about 2.5 years to pay those taxes if it's a home. And you would redeem your taxes, but you'll have to pay all of the taxes, the interest, and the fees that the buyer paid. You got to pay them back plus interest typically, which is why we try to get people off the sale list before the tax sale happens. So for a more detailed look at what happens with the tax sale and what to do if you are on that list, we have a brochure on our website called How to Avoid the Tax Sale. And it answers the most frequently asked questions that we get about the tax sale. And this, for Commissioner Miller, for your district, is something that we're happy to provide to you that you can make available to your constituents. It answers the most frequently asked questions that we get. Now, the key dates for the upcoming annual sale, most of these have already passed, as you can see. Registration is now closed for the tax buyers, and then the sale is going to begin next Thursday. That's just the schedule. As I mentioned, May 12th and May 13th are going to be the dates that you're going to want to keep an eye on for the 6th District. Now, a lot of what we do at the Treasurer's Office is analyzing what is on that list. This goes to what Commissioner Miller mentioned earlier about the inequity that exists. As you can see, almost more than half of these properties, the 37,000 properties that are going to the sale, owe under $1,000. So people could potentially lose their home for under $1,000, and they might not even know it. And that's because if you look, almost 15,000 of these properties have returned mail. And what that means is that we sent a bill and it was returned to us as undeliverable by the U.S. Post Office. So that's why we're really trying to promote our website to allow people to search to see if their properties are on this list, because they might be on the list and not even know it. Now, we've broken down the list by where these properties are located. And as you can see, I mean, it's very apparent the inequity that exists with this list, because we've highlighted the areas that are majority Black and majority Latino. And I mean, you can see the screen's almost entirely yellow. Most of these properties, unfortunately, are in a majority Black and majority Latino communities. And again, this is by municipality. You're seeing the same trend. And here we have Commissioner Donna Miller, District 6, has almost 3,000 properties that are on this list. So really, we're going to try to reach out to those 3,000 property owners to try to get them off this list before next week. And we're happy to provide that list to you, Commissioner Miller, so that if you want to reach out to your constituents, you can. As Commissioner Miller mentioned earlier, the treasurer in March of 2020 began an initiative called Black Houses Matter. And this is to address the inequities that we just saw on that list, to try to reach out to property owners in the Black community, and we've expanded it now to the Latino community as well, to try to find overpayments that they might not be aware that they made, missing exemptions that they're entitled to, try to reduce their tax bills and get them off the tax sale list. And every Monday at 11:30 a.m. on WVON, the treasurer has a radio show in which she takes calls from property owners, researches their properties, and sees if they're entitled to any missing exemptions or refunds. And we've had a lot of success with this. So since beginning the Black Houses Matter program, we've been able to refund about $127 million just in the Black community. In the Latino community, we've refunded almost $65 million. So we've had a lot of success, and we're really proud of this initiative. In addition, for people who might not be able to come downtown to our office, or people who are not, seniors who might not be computer savvy and using our website, we have 2 outreach vans where our employees actually drive out to people's properties and will hand deliver refund applications, exemption applications, and answer any questions they may have about their properties. So we're really proud of our outreach initiatives, but there's always more that we can do. So we're happy to partner with Commissioner Miller and anyone else who might want to help us get the word out about the tax sale. This concludes my presentation, but I'm happy to take any questions that anyone might have who's watching this right now.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for that great presentation. And I don't know if we have any questions, but I will just say that, as you mentioned, the information is going to be available. And we encourage anyone who might think they know someone, or if it's themselves, to utilize that information. They can reach out to my office or their respective commissioner's office to find out this information. But I just want to thank you, Kelly, for coming here today to explain this. It's worth repeating over and over, just due to the sheer volume of properties that are on this list. And I would ask you just one question, if you happen to know. Mm-hmm. When I know there's a FAQ, but what is the most common reason or question that people have as to why they are delinquent?
So a lot of the time people, because we're collecting multiple years at once. So they'll pay, let's say, a year after the year that was delinquent, thinking that they're all paid and not realize that they paid on the wrong year. So that's a common question that we get. Another one is a missing exemption. So they got their senior freeze, which zeroed out their bill for years past. And now they failed to apply for that again, or they applied, but their paperwork got lost in the mail and they didn't get that exemption. So now their tax bill is way higher than it usually is, and they can't afford to pay. So that's why our outreach efforts are so important, to make sure that people are getting the exemptions that they're entitled to and all the other tax relief that they might be entitled to that they're not aware of.
Yeah, you're right. The outreach is key, and getting people into this process and understanding that is so important. I do believe if as of this year now, you don't have to reapply for the senior freeze, right?
But there are, so there are disabled, veteran exemptions, disabled. There are others that you would have to reapply for that right. Clear out your bill potentially. So
Right. So we do need to make sure everyone understands that. So, because even when we thought about it, it's like, okay, once you're a senior, you're always a senior, right. Unless we have the magic potion, but we do not. But so once you're a senior, you do not have to reapply for the senior freeze, but that does not help you for this year. I mean, this year that we're talking about right now, or 2022 or 2021, right. It's moving forward. But we do want to make sure that disabled and veterans exemptions are also applied that you do have to reapply for. So I just encourage anyone who has questions about any of that to reach out. There are so many people who are available to help make sure this is not something that just slips through the cracks and that you are not able to take advantage of not reversing, but making sure you're not on the tax sale. And I want to thank Treasurer Pappas as well for everything that she does. Her outreach is amazing. I tune in on occasion to hear the Black Houses Matter segment on WVON, because I think that it just shows that if people are engaged, people right then and there are finding out what they can do to alleviate the tax sale or get other exemptions that they're eligible for that they just did not reapply for. So Kelly, thank you so much for your work and your advocacy and your ability to answer the questions and make sure that people have this information. We appreciate you all being here today. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, if you were not able to tune in yourself, please share this. We will have it on our Facebook page in perpetuity. You can watch it anytime because this is a yearly occurrence also, Kelly, right? It's not just for 2019. This happens every single year, but every single year we want to make sure that people have the tools and resources they need to not be on this list inadvertently or because of a paperwork error. Right. So I'll close out with that. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you, Kelly, and have a great weekend.
Thanks so much for having me.